The ebb and flow of the waters by the coastal town of Herminal in Bolinao, Pangasinan determine the lives of the people in the area. Most live by the bounty it brings. Yet, as the locals believe, some are fated to live by its curse.
Are we alone in the universe? Is there a portal to the past? Can we physically travel through time? And can a person come back from the dead? These are just a few of the questions that have continued to baffle and bewilder us. Though many have tried to answer them, not one definite conclusion has yet been given. This show will tackle that which is unexpected, unexplainable, and unorthodox. Is it destiny's sleight of hand? Or is it a nudge from God? Or maybe it's simply a matter of science. Chances are, anything is possible. Noli Tabucol was born without both his legs, but compared to his two siblings who barely lived their lives, Noel might still be considered lucky, right? Wrong, according to some people. To them, Noel was cursed even before he was born.
Noli Balong Tabucol was born in Barangay Herminal, a small fishing town in Bolinao, Pangasinan. The simple wish of most expecting parents is for their child to be normal. But that wish didn't come true for Noli's parents. Their baby was born without his lower limbs. Like any other child, Balong wanted to play and mingle with the kids in his village. But his condition hindered him from doing so.
Hindi nga ako nakakapaglaro nun eh. Lahat naman ng mga bata to naglalaro. Siyempre ako, tinitignan ko lang sila. Mayroon kang sabihin na iingit din ako. Siyempre ganito nga eh.
While often being ridiculed for his deformity,
Tapos yung mga nagtutukso sa akin, ginagawa ko na lang, sinasaktan ko na lang yung tukso. Siyempre kung maiinis ka, wala rin eh. Susundukin ko sila kasi hindi ko kaya. Siyempre, sasaktan mo na lang.
nothing must have hurt Noli more than being kicked while he was down. But he had no choice but to live with it.
Nakakaramdam din ako dun ng galit eh. Siyempre, lahat naman tayo kung natutokso ng kakarinig tayo, masasakit na salita, siyempre gagalit din tayo. Siyempre, ako naman, parang sa akin yung sabi ko nga, sinasakyan ko na lang sila.
Fortunately for Noli, he had his family to lean on.
Ayan, kahit na gaanong hirap namin, ano namin talagang palakin hanggang kaya, hanggat kaya namin. Kung pwede lang sana palagyan ng paa, kaso lang pwede.
Many people have formulated their own theories as to why Noli was born that way. Some say it had something to do with his mother's actions while conceiving. But Noli isn't so sure.
Tira kasi akong nagtatanong eh. Kasi ayaw ko din namang malaman kung bakit ganito ako. May naalala ko nung mama ko noon, naglilida ako. Alam mo itong mga isda, hilig niya daw yung putol-putulin niya, yung mga buntot nila, tapos doon lang kainin. Mga, hindi ko alam eh, basta yun lang pag sabi sa akin noon, yung mga isda daw, nahuli ng papa ko, pinagliya ko. Yung pinuputol-putol yung isda. Tapos yung kainin lang yung dito sa may buntot. Tapos kung hindi, yung sa may ulo, hindi na kainin na buo. Tapos nung sinilang na ako, ganito na, naputol na.
Mang Rogelio is not convinced about this theory either. Instead, he's pinning the blame on himself.
Meron sigurong ayaw na nagawa ko ng pan. Ayun, kaya ganyan nangyari.
But Mang Rogelio remembers noticing something weird about his wife's behavior while she was still pregnant with Noli.
Ako noon ay laging namamasyal, ganyan. Gusto ko nga mamasyal kung minsan sa dahil medyo pa noon mabarkada. Hanggang sa bumili siya ng bagong pantalon ko, bago ako umalis sa bahay, pinagpuputol niya yung pantalon nung pinaglihiyan. Yan siguro ang nangyari sa kanya.
The anecdotes shared by Noli and Mang Rogelio were echoed by Noli's aunt, Hilda Cas.
Parang mainitin ang ulo ng kapatid ko nung araw. Laging, siyempre, nagagalit. Laging sigurong pinagbubuntunan yung mga bagay na hindi dapat na anuhin. Tulad na lang sa isda, dahil nga nangingisda yung bayaw ko. Doon niya binubuntun lahat yung galit niya, lalo na pag talagang sinumpong yung init ng ulo, lalo na pag naglilihi ang isang babae. Pinuputulan niya lagi ng buntot. Yun ang ano niya. Nagmanding sa amin sa Bulinaw. Sa paglilihi yun.
Nagmanding o namanding in the native Bolinao tongue means sumpa sa paglilihi in Tagalog or cursed during conception in English. Noli's sister, Noli Tabucol, considers this to be a factor in her brother's condition.
Parang mayroong sumpa.
Florenda thinks that there are certain similarities between her two deceased brothers and Noli's case.
Siyempre, hindi ko naman alam yung tabata pa ko. Pag yung naglilihi, mahilig magputingting. Pupunta siya sa dagat, kumukuha ng mga shells. Mga anuhin niya. Yung unang kapatid namin, yung paglabas niya, may butas dito sa bumbunan. Ayun. Tapos, namatay. Nung pangalawang pagbubuntis na naman ni nanay, ni mama, yung may tumubo na naman dito.
But were the mother's actions the real cause of her children's tragic fate?
The sad and lonely world of an outcast exposed. Next on Chances Are. A life without legs would be very difficult indeed for anyone. Such was the fate of Noli Tabucol.
For someone who lives in a fishing village, it's not surprising that Noli became a fisherman. But for someone with a disability, it was quite remarkable that Noli was able to adjust to a life that revolves around the water, like a fish to the sea.
Darating sila papa galing sa laot ng isda. Dito lang kami sa may pangpang. Hanggang sa natutong ako dito, yun, hindi namang nagulat yung mga kapitbahay. Siyempre, alam naman nila, araw-araw ako naliligo sa dagat nung bata. Hindi na sila nagulat na marunong akong lumangoy, gano'n. Parang normal na sa kanila na, ay, okay lang yan, sabi ng gano'n.
The sea became his playground and his haven, a place where he learned that one didn't need legs and feet to stay afloat. Fishing is the main source of livelihood in their village. It was a struggle at first. His father didn't want to risk Noli's life nor his safety.
Doon ako sumama sa bayaw ng kapatid ko na hindi nila alam. Hindi alam ng magulang ko noon. Pero yung kuya ko alam niya. Nung pag-uwi, Sir mo nang nabutan yung rin. Hindi ako nagpaalam eh. Tapos hanggang noon, sabi ng papa ko, kaya pala niya kahit ganyan. Sabi niya, yun, pumapayag na rin siyang sasama ko sa lahat ngayon. Siyempre, yun lang yung magandang anak buhay dito eh.
It wasn't easy, he admits, but life goes on for Noli. Life in Hermenal Bolinao is difficult as it is. But for Noli, it's twice the burden, for he has only his hands, his arms, and his upper body to help him get the day's work done. Noli is bent on pursuing a better career than that of being a fisherman. That's why he made sure to finish high school and even took a one-year computer technical course in Alaminos, Pangasinan.
Yung iba nga kung minsan, tinitingnan nga nila yung physical. Wala na. Laglag na ako. Sabi ko, tinitingnan yung physical na ito. Wala na, sabi ko. Pero sabi ko na nung minsan na interview ako, sabi ko, lahat naman ng bagay, sir, na pag-aaralan, sabi ko, kahit ganito ako. Siyempre kung talagang willing ako magtrabaho, lahat ng kahit hindi ko yan kaya kong pag-aralan yan, sabi ko naman ko yan. Siyempre, lahat naman nga ng bagay, kaya kong pag-aralan eh.
Kahit na ganyan siya, gusto niya talagang makapaghanap buhay. Dahil ganitong kahirapan namin, gusto niya talagang maghanap buhay yan. Maglambat, kailangan
Noli proved to his family that having this kind of physical deformity will not hinder him from living his life to the fullest. But for his father, Rogelio,
Kung kanyan daming nanunukso sa kanya, pero parang kwan sa kanya, parang hindi pinapansin.
Kayo po, ano po ang naramdaman niyo?
Kami talagang medyo masakit din ang loob namin na ganyan.
but amidst his agonies, Noli has a ready smile for everyone. Neighbors bear witness to the cross Noli has had to carry from the day he was born. Although they are supportive and were never mean, they couldn't help but be curious as to why Noli and his family had to endure such fate.
Oo naman siyempre. Bakit sila ganyan-ganyan lang na ano. Kaya lang, yun na nga ang sabi ng nanay niya noong buhay pa na siya pinaglihi ko ng ganito, ganon.
Basta nandiyan lang nakikita namin, ganyan siya. Hindi naman namin tinatanong kung ano.
But Noli's sister thinks there's more to Noli's situation than others would like to acknowledge. According to her, he must have been cursed.
Parang mayroon kasi ilang bisis nang si mama. Bubuting-ting ng mga shells. Ganon nga ang nangyari. Tapos yung isda na pinuputol niya yung mga ganon din nung nangyari kay Parang mayroong ipawatig talaga na parang may gusto nga siyang anuhin. Parang mayroong sumpa, parang ganon.
They say this habit backfired and turned Noli into a human without feet.
Sa mga isda, mahilig siyang magputol ng magputol. Ayaw niya yung may buntot.
On the other hand, some of the village folk say that the guardians of the sea wanted to send a message to the fishermen, warning them against dynamite fishing, and Noli was the unfortunate recipient of the curse.
Yung mga tao dito sa tabi-tabi namin, pero si Papa hindi naman gumagamit. Nakalagay sa buti. Tapos sisindihan nila, tapos itatapon nila. Hindi ko naman din alam yun, hindi ko rin na yun. Pero nakikita ko kung minsan sa mga gumagawa, bang tao dyan, wag nang gagamit ng mga dynamite ha. Kasi konti-konti nang nahuhuli ng mga nangangalap ng isda. Dahil yung iba kasi illegal na ang ginagawa. Marami dyan sa laot.
For Florencia, there's nothing they could do to lift the said curse. The only recourse is to accept their fate.
Wala na siguro. Kasi mayroon namang kwento na yung pamilya sinumpa, ganun. Diba? Mayroong kwento na talagang inborn, nasa lahi-lahi. Tao rin ako hindi naman ako marunong maghusga din ng Kaya kung sigurong binigay ng Diyos sa atin, pasalamatan na lang natin. Wala kang ginagawa sa kapwa mo ng masama. Wala sigurong bahala na yung taong gagawa ng masama sa iyo. Basta ikaw, wala kang gagawin ng masama sa kapwa mo.
Anthropologist Dr. Luis Carmelo Buenaventura explains that curses usually emanate from extreme feelings.
Unahin po natin yung positive. Kasi when we use that in our language, pag sinabi mo, may sumpa ako, hindi ka lang nangangako Talagang gagawin mo ito. At seryoso ka na gagawin mo ito. So hindi lang ito pangako, pero yung iyong kredibilidad at yung iyong integridad ay nandoon. Kung hindi ko natupad yung aking isinumpa sa tao o sa madla, yari ako. Ngayon, ang gagawin ng tao, parang may right sila, may karapatan sila na pwede kang isumpa.
Invoking a curse may be normal for us as human beings, but what happens after that is beyond our nature.
I would say talagang not only from the energy of the person or the person speaking the words, no? Pero nakikita ko malakas ang talagang supernatural power natin eh.
And Filipinos are not the only ones who believe in the power of a curse.
Hindi ko dito nung unang panahon bago pa dumating ang mga Kastila, meron na talaga tayong tradisyon ng talagang palabra de honor, as we use that in Spanish, no? Yung word of honor. Na pag sinabi nila yung word sumpa, talagang ito ay huwag ka mag-alala, gagawin ko ito. At talagang tutuparin ko yung sinabi ko sa inyo, na isinumpa ko sa inyo. So yun.
Soon it will be you who comes begging to me.
In the movie Drag Me to Hell, a young bank employee was cursed by an old woman whom she refused to help.
Never have I begged for anything, but now I humble myself before you. I beg you.
Please let go. Please let go. Security!
You shame.
How do I get rid of this?
The lesson of the story: you receive from the world what you give to the world. This is an ancient message that's been told in the Bible, in fables, and in the books we have today.
Ang sumpa talaga nakikita ko from an anthropological point of view ay isang uri ng tinatawag natin sa wikang Ingles, social control. Na pag walang social control na ganyan, magsasamantala lang ang tao sa isa't isa. So ito ay parang palatandaan, ito ay parang babala sa lahat na huwag mong gagawin yan.
Although belief in curses has faded with the passing of time, Dr. Buenaventura says, it doesn't hurt to do good to others.
Payo lang naman ay huwag tayo makipag-away sa tao. Kung nagkaroon man tayo ng disagreement, hindi tayo masyadong nakasundo, huwag na lang natin idaan sa away, daan na lang natin sa pagkakaibigan. At pagmamahalan sa isa't isa. At pagkakaunawa sa isa't isa. Parang hindi magkaroon ng away. The less enemies we have, the better.
Next on Chances Are, if we can wish someone good tidings, can we also wish them ill and harm? Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. That's a warning we often hear. So if we do have the power to make things happen, would that be a boon or a bane?
Dr. Buenaventura states that our belief system is one factor which solidified hexing in our society.
It has been a tradition, it has been there in our tradition, and we take it seriously. Malakas kasi ang paniniwala natin sa netherworld, sa paranormal, sa mga bagay na ito. Talagang siniseryoso nila, lalo na sa mga bagay na ito. Sa level na yan, lalo na sa rural area, ay ito talagang gusto nilang ipahiwatig sa madla na huwag kayong bastang magbibiro-biro dito. Kasi we mean business.
And when one means business, the stronger the possibility to realize the ideal, no matter if the intent is bad or good.
Not just hexing, just for the sake of hexing. Yung talagang may taus-puso din siyang pinanindigan niya, yung sinasabi niya. Talagang malalim, kasi very deep ang sumpa eh.
But who are more likely to fall prey to this phenomenon?
Sino mga nagiging biktima? Yung maraming kaaway, yung maraming natatapakan. Ito yung mga nagiging biktima, nagiging vulnerable na biktima ng sumpa. Kasi pag maraming kagalit, may problema ka. Kasi pag marami ka ng kagalit, baka hindi mo nang alam na sinusumpa ka nga.
Dr. Louis states that the existence of spirits in nature can also hex a person. Could this possibly be the reason for Noli's deformed physical condition?
Ang karagatan, may mga espiritu. Kung may mga lamang lupa, may lamang dagat din ang dagat. So, hindi lang natin masasabi, tama ito, totoo ito, o mali ito. Pero kailangan kumuha tayo ng maraming empirical evidences, kailangan ma-investigate natin ng gusto kung talagang may basihan na kung bakit nangyayari ito.
Over the years, tales about curses have haunted people and triggered their curiosity.
With their political clout, sizable wealth, and good looks, the Kennedys have been bestowed the title America's Royal Family. But as famous as they are for bringing royalty to the White House, so too are they infamous for inheriting the Kennedy curse.
From generation to generation, members of the Kennedy family have fallen victims to different misfortunes. Whether it's by accident, illness, or assassination, people attribute their tragic deaths as well as their troubled lives to the Kennedy curse. And there have been other popular tragic cases attributed to a curse, such as the sensationalized deaths of the excavators of the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamen. Some popular musicians succumb to the curse of 27, pop stars who die untimely at the age of 27. Unlike these celebrated cases, Noli Tabucol's situation was different. His curse came in the form of a physical deformity, a condition which would seem easy for modern science to solve. But poverty prevented him from doing so. And as depressing as it may seem, Noli was left with no choice but to accept his curse.
Pinanganak na po akong ganito, inborn. Tapos hanggang sa paglaki, ito inborn na, hindi na ako naiyak kahit sino. Siyempre, ganito na ako pinanganak eh. Tanggap ko naman na ganito ako at least. Siyempre, malakas tayo. Bubuhay pa rin, walang sakit eh.
Next on Chances Are, is there such a thing as a cure to a curse? To be born with no legs or feet to stand on. Is that a karmic twist of fate, a genetic malady, or the effects of chemical misuse? We'll help Noli find the logical answer.
The residents of Hermenal, Bolinao, Pangasinan are firm in their belief that Noli's condition was brought forth by a curse. But is there something supernatural about his handicap, or are there other explanations? Dr. Marie Cruz, an OB-GYN in St. Luke's Medical Center, explains that Noli's condition is not a first in the medical field.
Usually, ang tawag natin dyan ay, well, of course, aside from bony leg defect, yung tinatawag natin itong phocomelia. It can occur sa upper limbs or lower limbs or even both.
Phocomelia is a birth defect in which the upper part of the limb is poorly developed. It causes the hand or the foot to be attached to the body by a short flipper-like stump. Dr. Marie also explains the possibility of external factors which may start to affect the baby's condition while in the mother's womb.
Usually, maraming causes ang mga congenital limb defects. So, pwede itong secondary to drugs, intake of certain drugs. Usually, we have things to ask the mother, of course, natin kung may history siya ng infection before, like any infection during pregnancy, kasi pwedeng maka-affect din yun sa development ng buto niya.
Dynamite fishing used to be rampant in Bolinao, and people in their town are exposed to seafoods contaminated with chemicals from explosives. Could this have contributed to Noli's deformity?
Well, of course, any chemicals na kinain or na-ingest ng ating kakainin, mapupunta sa ating system. And of course, since medyo open yung system ng mother tsaka ng baby, there is communication of whatever we take in, kung ano man yung kinain natin, mapupunta talaga sa baby. However, there is certain parang criteria before we say na ito nagkukos nito. Let's say, dito sa isang community na to, lahat halos sila kasi dapat hindi isolated condition yan.
Sadly though, the only person who may have the answers to these questions passed away several months ago, leaving Noli's medical history in the dark. At present, birth defects like Noli's can be detected early through ultrasound. Unfortunately, it has no remedy.
There is no cure. Once it develops, once it's there, there's really no cure. Or, of course, may mga ways to help para yung bata hindi masyadong maapektuhan, gaya ng mga pagre-rehab therapy, or yung iba nagdadagdag ng limbs na, pero hindi siya surgical, yung parang naglalagay lang ng prosthesis.
We wanted to know more about how Noli's condition developed. So we took him to a nearby hospital to find out more.
Ito ang tinatawag nila congenital deformity. Pinanganak kang walang paa. Nakita natin. Talagang amputation. Self-amputation. Anong sinasabi ng mga tao sa paligid mo?
Wala naman po. Nasanay na sila.
Nasanay na sila.
Kanina, kasi ito nga yung first time kong pupunta sa doktor. Kanina parang excited ako na hindi ko mapaliwanag eh. Siyempre, check upin ako para malaman ko yung kalagayan ko kung paano.
Will nature's wrath prove more powerful than the wonders of science? Find out. Chances Are returns. The superstitious would say that a curse caused Noli's condition. But even a skeptic can't argue that a life filled with limitations and setbacks can be a curse all the same. Will Noli ever have the chance to rise above his disability? Or will he forever be damned?
Whatever happened to Noli while he was in his mother's womb remains a mystery.
Maraming kasabihan, maraming kumbaga kwento-kwento, haka-haka, pero we usually, before we believe on something else, it has to be based on facts, specifically yung mga medical facts, medical studies. So, I don't think yun ang naging dahilan kung bakit nagkaganon ng yung anak nila.
Was it a curse that led to his misfortune?
Been a tradition, and it has been there in our tradition, and we take it seriously. And I'm sure many will really take it seriously. So that's also my advice. We do take it seriously because it can happen to any one of us. Huwag natin baliwalaan.
Wala ito. Wala yung paa.
Noli was brought to orthopedic surgeon Dr. Raul Sabado to see if he could be a candidate for prosthetics.
May ganyan pa.
But Dr. Sabado says artificial legs would not help Noli at all.
Sa aking evaluation, yung stump ng kanyang paa, masyadong maiksi na lalagyan ng artificial. Lalo dalawa pa. At saka yung tinatawag nilang above knee prosthesis. And usually above knee prosthesis, ang balancing and power and control wala.
The doctor added that Noli's hips would not be able to control the artificial legs and could even result in further injuries.
Sa kanya, kailangan acceptan niya ang katotohanan at huwag siyang mawalan ng pag-asa. Alam kong mahirap. Emotionally, mga paligid, mga tao sa paligid niya, tinutukso siya.
The diagnosis may have been disappointing, but Noli remained optimistic.
Hirap kong ipaliwanag to yan. Sa akin, yung feelings ko na ganito nga, kulang yung haba, sabi niyo. Siyempre, sa akin, siyempre, ang feeling ko, siyempre, medyo nalungkot din ako. Siyempre, kulang yung remedyo. At least, nalaman ko yung remedyo na talagang wala siyang remedyo. Okay lang sa akin. Tanggap ko naman siya na, at least nalaman ko yung katotohanan.
Noli's condition only hinders his physical movements, but not his motivation to live.
Kahit nalaman ko yung totoo ako, hindi nagbabago yung pananaw ko sa buhay. Basta sa akin, itutuloy ko pa rin yung pakikipagsapalaran ko sa mundo kahit na ganito ako. Siyempre, kahit na ganito ako, itutuloy ko pa rin yung pakikipagsapalaran. Ika nga nila, huwag kang mapala ng pag-asa. Hanggat may oras, may pag-asa eh.
There are many sides to a story, and people have their own versions of reality. When something remarkable happens, people's interpretations will always vary. Because in the grand scheme of things, chances are anything is possible.